exciting weekend where we have a star-studded cast ahead of us, and you can hear in Portuguese we have Hodges Lima taking care of proceedings.
Vice-presidente de Relações Internacionais do UFC, as nossas Octagon Girls, Camila Oliveira, Jenny Andrade, Luciana Andrade. E vamos começar a cerimônia de pesagem na categoria peso mosca, Flyweight Division. Vem aí, Magomed, Bibulatov e Rogério Bontorin. O primeiro aqui na balança é Rogério Bontorin.
Making the walk to the UFC scales for the first time, Rogério Bontorin definitely grabbed Dana White's attention last summer when he fought on the Contender Series Brazil. He has a ridiculous 93% finishing rate, 11 of his 14 wins coming by way of submission. And guys, interestingly enough, he is also a full-time farmer. And he says he feels like the grind of farming, just having to do that day in, day out, really kind of complements his training, makes him a better fighter.
It's a different kind of strength, that farmer strength. You know, I've worked with a few guys that have been working the fields before, and it's a different kind of strength that suits very much a grappling mentality.
Coming from the Midwest, I definitely have a lot of respect for farm strength.
I'm sure. Now, Magomed Bibulatov, I'm really excited to see him come back. He's coming off his first loss, which is really important for me because this is when we get to see the best of these fighters, when they get to go back, change a few things in their game and step back into the octagon. He's a Kempo Karate world champion. He's got a very dynamic game, lots of spinning kicks, great timing on his level change, and watch out for that uppercut because when he sells you that takedown, he's going to catch you with that uppercut clean. That's a great first fight to kick the card off.
Must be noted that he did miss weight as well, Dan.
Yeah, by a pound. Yeah, absolutely. Got to wonder whether the travel made a difference to that.
O primeiro aqui na balança é Said Nurmagomedov.
If you're from Dagestan, you are born a fighter. If you are a Nurmagomedov, you have almost guaranteed a life as a top-level fighter. Here is UFC lightweight champ's cousin, number 12 ranked Said Nurmagomedov. He is also a Mark Henry student as well, been in the match with Zabis, so we see elements of his game there as well.
You've got to think the amount of experience around him that he can draw from during training camp. It must be quite incredible.
Well, guys, if you were to just go off of his record, you might be tempted to think that Ricardo Ramos does his best work on the canvas, but he let everyone know what was up with his striking at UFC 217 when he scored just the second spinning elbow KO in UFC history. He's just 23, he's the youngest fighter on Saturday's card, and he is definitely making some waves in the flyweight division.
And the timing on that elbow was perfect, especially against someone like Ayman Zahabi, who is incredibly tough.
That's an exciting flyweight fixture right there.
Categoria peso pena, Featherweight Division, Geraldo de Freitas e Felipe Colares. O primeiro aqui na balança é Felipe Cabocão Colares.
It's not often we see two debut fighters go head-to-head, but this fight pictures two highly touted Brazilians, two Brazilian champions. Felipe Colares was the last fighter to be added to the card, and he responded by going on social media looking to unite northern Brazil to get behind him in what he says is the biggest fight of his career. He wants to show the world, once again, the strength of northern Brazil.
Got a very similar fighting style, these two guys, I've done. I noticed that in my research. I think this is going to be closed down and on the ground pretty quickly.
Is 145 pounds, 65.8 kilos, 65 kilos.
He's got excellent body lock takedowns as well. Something you'll notice, he'll punch his way into the clinch very quickly, he'll body lock, and he'll drag his opponent to the ground. And Geraldo de Freitas is very, very similar, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He likes to drag people down against the fence, but then he has a very controlling but loose top game. He likes to float around people and beat them up. And if he can isolate an arm, he's got 3 arm bars and 5 submissions. So I'm expecting him to be chasing arms all night tomorrow.
Belongs to a good team. He's bounced around, actually always been under good mentors as well. So I expect his pedigree to be very, very strong. Making the headlines here in Brazil, this one.
Normally we think of the Brazilian fans as influencing fights against the foreigner fighter, but we have a lot of Brazil versus Brazil coming up on Saturday night. It'll be interesting to see who kind of wins the fans over.
Yeah, right, a lot of local bragging rights. Absolutely.
Oh, they're still going for it. There you go. Nick Maynard's having to get between them. Fans responding.
Yep.
Agora sim, vamos subir de peso. Vamos lá para os pesos pesados. Heavyweight Division. Júnior Albini e Jairzinho Rosenstruck. O primeiro aqui na balança é Jairzinho Big Boy Rosenstruck.
I'll be honest, John, the first time I did some research on Rosenstruck, I was surprised at how technical he is. He's got a lot of kickboxing experience, over 80 fights, 64 knockouts in kickboxing. And if you watch the way he moves, he's very intelligent when he moves forward, picking his shots, breaking his opponents down with low kicks. But if somebody pressures him, which actually happens quite a lot in his fights, because although he's a heavyweight, he's often undersized. He often gives up height and reach to his opponent, like he does in this fight tomorrow night. But backing up, punching and catching people on the chin as they're rushing forward is one of his specialities. Accurate hands and very, very powerful.
Senhoras e senhores, recebam seu adversário, Júnior Baby Albini.
Albini has told us to expect a new version of himself. After suffering at the hands of two of the most experienced heavyweights on the roster, he left his wife and daughter for the world-famous mats of American top team. Now, the fascinating translation of sparring partners from my Google search was human material. Apparently, they have really good human material down at American top team.
I believe it, and it's fascinating. It's actually the first time he's had a training camp with heavyweights around him. He came from a small village before, and he's been working with middleweights and welterweights, but this time he's been preparing with JDS.
Agora a gente desce de peso, vamos para os meio médios, Welterweight Division. Thiago Alves, Max Griffin, the first in the scale is Mr. Max Payne Griffin.
I'm Max Payne Griffin. I have a 14-5 record, and I'm fighting out of Sacramento, California at Marinoble's Martial Arts and Kickboxing. I've had 5 wins in less than a minute, so don't blink.
Well, there he is, the man that brings the pain. And let me tell you something, Max Griffin is the type of fighter who feeds off of the fans cheering against him. He beat Mike Perry in his hometown. He plans to do the same thing to Thiago Alves. So don't think that those fans chanting that famous Brazilian chant is going to affect him one bit.
I'm sure he was expecting
favorite as well.
I'm sure he was expecting to hear the chants coming out with, you know, against someone like Thiago Alves, someone that's been a mainstay of the welterweight division for many, many years. He was actually on the card of my first live UFC event, UFC 85 Bedlam, where he knocked out Matt Hughes with a beautiful knee. And I also discovered this, John, he has the most finishes with knees in the UFC at 4, so that's something you've got to bear in mind. He's got short arms, he's short in stature as well, but when he clamps onto someone with a Muay Thai clinch, he is absolutely lethal. And as Joe Rogan always says, if you're a young fighter, you want to learn how to throw a low kick correctly, watch Thiago Alves' back catalogue. He's absolutely fabulous, the way he whips that leg over, chops into the thigh.
And this is his town. Fortaleza is his spot. This is where he grew up. He's excited to be back here. It's been a long time. That's a great opportunity for Max Griffin.
Yeah, and it's his kind of fight as well. He's got a striker in front of him, which is what he wants.
Meninas vão entrar em ação na categoria peso mosca. Women's Flyweight Division. Mara Romero Borella contra Tayla Santos. A primeira aqui na balança é Tayla Santos.
Well, Tayla Santos is making her UFC debut, but let me tell you, from seeing her work firsthand on the Contender Series Brazil, there is a reason that this woman is 15-0. She's got 11 first-round finishes, 10 wins by knockout, but it was her leg kicks that won her that Contender Series fight, won her that contract, so much so that Paul Felder referred to her as a female Edson Barboza on the commentary, and I feel like it was a very apt comparison for sure.
Yeah. High praise as well.
Now this is a really interesting fight for me because Mara Romero Borella.
That's easy for you to
It is
say,
a tough
Dan.
name. It is a
I'm
tough
struggling
name.
tonight. She's excellent at pushing forward, short staggered steps, really nice punching combinations. But if we go back to her UFC debut against Kalinda Ferrara, she took her down, she dragged her down from her body lock, she mounted her, and then she started working for an arm triangle, which actually ended up showing her back. She took the back, sunk in a beautiful rear naked choke, and then clinched that palm-to-palm Dan Severn style. Really nice finish. I think this is going to be a grappler v striker matchup. As you said, Santos is a very, very good Muay Thai striker. She reminds me a lot of Jermaine Durandamy in the way she moves.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think Borella's got to close this one down quickly.
Nessa agenda próxima luta, último lugar de preliminar, divisão dos médios, middleweight division, Marcos Pérez contra Anthony Hernandez. O primeiro aqui na balança é Anthony Fluffy Hernandez.
Undefeated resulted in 7 fights with 6 first-round finishes. And he kept that style going when he was on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. He closed distance down very, very quickly against his opponent, landed a short-range combination which switched him off against the fence. And as his opponent fell, you could see that elation, the relief of his of the victory in his pocket.
Anthony Hernandez dedicated that fight to his father, who passed away right before he won his contract. It was his father's dying wish that he be able to fight in the UFC, and it's incredible to see him coming true.
Wow. He actually has a tattoo on his neck as well. So, Marcus Perez, he ventured out to American Top Team in Florida a couple of times before this fight. Although happy with the status quo, he's looking to elevate his game to a new level. And get this, Coach Mike Brown told me, if you squint your eyes and look at Marcus, you might just think it's Jorge Masvidal.
I'm doing it right now, and he's a little bit too white.
I think Masvidal is somewhere in the world being very annoyed.
It's that new haircut he's got.
I'll try again tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Let me know how you get on.
Excellent counter wrestling though as Perez. Good takedown defense, always circling to the back. That's something that Hernandez has to be watching for if he's going to be throwing those big, powerful shots. Doesn't want to overextend and leave himself open.
Vamos para a pesadinha das lutas do card principal, the main card. A gente começa com as meninas. Na categoria peso palha, Women's Strawweight Division, Livinha Souza e Sara Frota. A primeira aqui na balança é Sara, a treta Frota.
Well, more than anything, I'm just excited that this bout is continuing on. Unfortunately, this morning, Sara did miss weight by 7 pounds, a very big miss. She's giving up 30% of her purse. But as I said, I can imagine that's going to affect her in this fight. I mean, to cut that hard is going to have an impact on her. But she is an incredibly intimidating strawweight. She had her 6th first-round finish on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series Brazil this summer. And she's got a lot to offer that strawweight division in terms of power.
And she did make weight for strawweight on the Contender Series,
she
correct?
did,
Her third fight at strawweight. You've got to wonder what happened in her training camp, and it might leave her exposed when she's fighting someone like Livinha Souza, who is a very aggressive fighter. A member of the Brazilian Olympic team for judo. She'll close distance, she'll clamp onto her opponent, and then she'll start working immediately to mount. If we go back to her fight against Alex Chambers, the 2nd fastest strawweight win in the UFC, she mounted her, she got a guillotine as Alex Chambers was trying to escape. I mean, really, I think that she's going to be closing distance down very quickly. She's far more comfortable in the clinch than she is at range. She's got very tricky takedowns as well, keeping a hold of arms and stuff.
I've had the pleasure of watching her fight in Invicta for many years, and she is a beast. She is a G. And this stare down, let's pause for a second, because I'm telling you, this stare down, you're not going to get more intense than this. And when you look at the size, Livinha is almost always undersized at strawweight, but she always surprises me, and it's never fast.
Never out.
Principal divisão dos meio pesados, light heavyweight division. Johnny Walker contra Justin Lede. O primeiro aqui na balança, the first on the scale is Mr. Justin El Blanco Lede.
Ever since Justin Ledet joined the UFC, I've been impressed with him. He's got great footwork. You can tell he's got a pro boxing background as well. 5-0 as a pro. He's got good footwork, and when he first joined the UFC, it was in the heavyweight division, which means he was able to move around people very quickly and pick them off with combination shots. When he moved back down to light heavyweight, he ran into Alexander Rakic, and that was a rough one for him, but a great learning experience. I feel like tonight he's got just the opponent that he wants, someone that's going to come wild and throw lots of shots.
Meu nome é Johnny Walker, tô com o cartel 15-3, vou lutar representando a cidade de Phuket, na Tailândia. Eu sou de Rio das Ostras, Brasil, estou vindo numa sequência de 7 vitórias e eu vou buscar a minha 8ª vitória hoje à noite.
Well, you don't get much better than the UFC debut Johnny Walker had last November against Khalil Roundtree, getting the knockout in the first round with a beautiful short-range elbow from the clinch, just devastating. He is such an exciting prospect for this light heavyweight division. And let me tell you something, Dan, he's a handful in an interview, so be prepared.
I'll keep that in mind, thank you very much. He can't be as much of a handful as he is in the octagon. I mean, he's got such a chaotic style, but I think Justin Ledet's going to look at that and think, I find ways to counterpunch here.
Okay, Laura has to leave the desk right now and go and speak with some of the fighters, but she will return for our fight picks later in the show. We'll stay with the weigh-ins, and next up is David Teymur.
David Teymur!
This is finally the fight that David Teymur has been asking for, John.
Well, it's a bit of a throwback fight, Dan, I think. Striker versus grappler contest. Teymur takes his exciting Muay Thai style on the road again. This is his 5th time fighting outside of Europe, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's perfect inside the octagon, and he's looking to equal the Swedish record of 6 consecutive UFC wins.
He's a very mature fighter. You can tell that he's had a lot of Muay Thai experience, the way that he moves. He doesn't take many risks. He's a very disciplined fighter. Never really overextends himself. Looks for the opportunities to throw his strikes, but doesn't waste any energy. Very, very efficient.
Also saying it's not his biggest fights, which is quite interesting. Said he had bigger fights in Muay Thai.
Yeah, I don't know, though. I think, you know, now he's on the rise towards the UFC title, and he's got to go through guys like Charles Oliveira. This is really where we're going to get to see what David Teymur's made of. I mean, Charles Oliveira, 14 first-round finishes, 17 submission wins, and he's a neck attacker. 7 rear naked chokes, 3 anacondas, 3 guillotines.
Oh, Dan, look at this.
You know, you've got to think David Teymur's got to stop these takedowns. If he starts too aggressive, he's going to get caught in something, and Charles Oliveira is a very, very dangerous submission fighter. What a face-off that was, John.
He made his beeline towards Teymur from the scales. Fans liking that one.
Welterweight division, Demian Maia contra Lyman Good. The first on the scale is Mr. Lion Cyborg Good.
I'm Lyman Cyborg Good. I have a 20-4 record. And I'm fighting out of New York City at Tiger Shulman's. I'm coming off a first-round knockout at UFC 230, and I'm going for another one tonight.
Strong words there, but listening to Lyman Good this week, it's clear he has the utmost respect for Demian Maia. And not just the Brazilian legend's skills, but the way he carries himself professionally. In fact, I think this might be the first time that Maia fights that Good is not going to be supporting him.
You know, Demian Maia is one of those kind of fighters that all of the fighters love because he's one of the last purists that left in the sport. You know, first and foremost, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu veteran. He's a very, very decorated champion. And when he transitioned over into mixed martial arts, he was able to bring those submission skills with him. He's been able to drown people in pressure on the ground. And as soon as he's clamped onto somebody, you're really never safe. He can attack you from any angle. And now he's moved down to welterweight. You can see he's fighting guys that are much more his size. I mean, I've always been impressed with Demian Maia. He only runs into trouble when he's against strong wrestlers. So I think he's going to try and close Lyman Good down early in this fight, so he doesn't have to deal with those big power hands of Lyman Good.
Lots of respect and a lot of experience up there on the stage right now. Lyman Good, a former world champion of another organization, but this is his big ticket to leapfrog up the rankings.
José Aldo contra Renato Moicano. O primeiro aqui na balança é Renato Moicano!
Brazilia's Renato Moicano feels he's been presented with the big ticket. He said if he beats the legend José Aldo, the world will know his name and he'll be positioned for a title shot. But in his mind, Dan, he must get past the status of José Aldo, something he's confident in doing, saying he's largely unemotional about fighting until after the battle. But it's a big ask, and these fans don't like him.
No, it's amazing. I mean, pretty much everyone's already siding with Aldo, as you can hear in the arena, and that just shows you how much respect is put on José Aldo. The longest reigning featherweight champion, WEC champion, UFC champion. Look at that, most knockouts in the UFC WEC history. He's a fantastic fighter. I've had the opportunity to train with him myself in Rio de Janeiro, and I mean, he's absolutely lightning in the gym as well. Very well-rounded fighter, beautiful Muay Thai, excellent timing. I always go back to the Cubs once knockout. He was 8 seconds in, he landed that knee. I mean, this could be a changing of the guard tonight, but José Aldo over 3 rounds, for me, is one of the most dangerous fighters that's ever graced the octagon.
Oh, absolutely, a complete legend.
E agora vamos conhecer pouquinho mais dos dois atletas que farão a luta principal dessa edição do UFC, Raphael Assuncao e Marlon Moraes. Here we go!
When the UFC goes back to Fortaleza, Brazil, they're going with Marlon Moraes versus Raphael Assuncao. This is a rematch. The first fight was very close, with Assuncao winning by split decision.
When we first fought, was my first fight in the UFC. My performance wasn't my best one, but now I'm going out there, you know, I'm gonna have another shot and I'm gonna take it.
From the beautiful knockout of Aljamain Sterling in Fresno to the 33-second knockout of Jimmy Rivera.
Oh! Head kick for Moraes! Rivera in big trouble early! Magic Marlon Moraes!
This young man is on fire and charging hard towards earning a title shot.
That was a mistake, Marlon wanting this rematch. I'm just a dangerous guy. I'm constantly changing, constantly improving. And my goal is to break my opponent, and against Marlon Moraes is gonna be no different. I'm gonna try to break him physically, break him mentally.
If there's a consistent guy in the UFC, it's Raphael Assuncao. All he does is win. 11-1 in the UFC. He's got wins over Aljamain Sterling, Marlon Moraes, TJ Dillashaw. He's able to stand with the best strikers. He's able to grapple with the best grapplers.
He proved in there how good he is, you know, but he's beatable. I'm going to go out there, make him miss, and make him pay.
I feel Marlon Moraes in my way once again. I'm capable of being the champion, and that's what I will showcase on this fight.
I'm one step to get to the title shot, and now it's time. It's time to go in there and get what's mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, senhoras e senhores, vem aí Magic Marlon Moraes!
You know, I love a good rematch, John, and I can only imagine how Marlon Moraes felt after that first bout. His UFC debut, he stepped in against Raphael Assuncao, and he gave everything he got, and he didn't quite manage to get the decision. But this time around, he can reflect back on that fight, and he can correct those things that he made mistakes on. The times he left himself open, and Renato and Assuncao managed to capitalize.
Well, Raphael is out to prove Moraes made a mistake asking for him. In my eyes, he is one of the most underrated guys in the UFC, and I have some thoughts about similarities to Jacare, never quite getting that title shot. Interesting one here, Dan, if you cast your mind back. Assuncao has very good memories of fighting here in Fortaleza. It was the last time he got a submission victory. So I think that'll be on his mind as well. But more than anything, he wants to march forward and put Marlon Moraes behind him.
He really feels like he's ready for a title shot here, and I think, you know, one more win, he's got to be there.
Vamos bater papinho rapidinho com a galera aqui. Marlon, como é que você se preparou agora para essa revanche? O que você espera para a luta de amanhã à noite?
How did you prepare yourself for this rematch, and what do you expect tomorrow night?
Tanto o Raphael como eu vencemos os melhores da categoria, chegamos aqui e eu estou muito preparado para essa revanche. Vai ser uma grande luta e, galera, eu estou pronto. Vou sair com a vitória. Um abraço.
Raphael and I have beat the best guys in the division, and it brought us back here. I'm really prepared for tomorrow night. It's going to be a great fight.
Marlon, boa sorte para você. Show de bola. Raphael, tudo bem? Boa sorte para você amanhã. O quanto uma vitória sobre o Marlon amanhã pode te colocar mais próximo de uma disputa pelo cinturão?
Where does a win tomorrow night against Marlon put you in the division?
Então, a vitória vai me credenciar para disputar esse cinturão. O foco agora é o Marlon amanhã. Tem um grande oponente na minha frente e vamos passar por mais essa aí.
The win tomorrow night is going to give me a title shot. I'm very focused on him. I have a great opponent ahead of me, so let's focus on that tomorrow.
Senhoras e senhores, Raphael Assuncao. Boa sorte, meu irmão.